Hello there, friends, and welcome back to a... I forgot how to talk. That's
okay.
good.
It doesn't matter. You don't need to do that for a thingy. It's fine. It's fine.
No,
I can do it
okay.
if you want. I can do it. I can host.
Oh, you are way better at it than I am, in fairness.
Yeah.
Could
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Could you?
Yeah.
Could you?
Hello there,
Right.
friends, and welcome to another episode.
Hello there, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Football Manager Therapy. My name is Rich Owens, and I nail the intro first time, every time. Joining me this week is friend of the people, friend of mine, friend of yours. It's Jebaroo. Hello, Jeb. How are you doing, mate?
I'm all
Welcome.
right, thank you. I'm all right. Actually, this week, just because of where cameras are positions, I'm Eberoo, so there we are. Welcome in. Yes, I'm well. I'm well. Hay fever, that's back. Summer, that's back. Yeah, warm, snotty, itchy eyes, everything, all the fun things, all at once.
Everybody's favourites. Right, people that like summer are not okay. Like, yeah, I like being really, really just sweaty all the time, and I really like having itchy eyes.
Yeah.
And I love it when my skin's a little bit burnt all the time, just because I had to go outside to go to the shops so I could buy food, so my family didn't perish.
Calm down. Didn't talk about going outside.
Ugh. Horrible business.
No.
There's no need. There's absolutely no need for any of it. Terrible. Terrible.
Yep.
No, can't get on board with it. So if you're a fan of the summertime, just have a quiet word with yourself would be my advice. Because
I mean, it's just about all right because there's like the Euros on, so there is some football on. But in a couple of weeks, you're just like, oh, where's the football? Oh, look, we're just going to listen to the same transfer rumour about, well, not Michael Elise anymore, but the same transfer rumours just going round and round and round for 3 months or 3 weeks.
exactly,
Whatever it is, yeah.
They'll just go on and on and on and on forever until whoever it is inevitably signs for Chelsea. That's just the way that football transfer rooms work these days. Ironically, unless you are Michael Elise. So,
yeah. And Jesse Lingard going to Sheffield Wednesday, obviously.
Jesse Lingard is coming to Sheffield Wednesday. See, there you go. If you go down Paddy Power and put that bet on, they'll know that you listen to this podcast. So, gamble responsibly. That's my advice.
Yeah, of course.
Or not at all. Just not at all.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it as well.
That's also a good way to
don't win anything though. But then you don't lose, so
but then you don't
the balancing,
lose.
isn't it? It's like
it is.
Yeah.
I suppose it really depends on how much you enjoy making money from betting on the football. So if it's something that means a lot to you, if it's something that means very little to you, just don't even start. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. There you go. See, look, we've just started the podcast. We've given some excellent advice on what to do and not to do when it comes to spending your money. So
yeah, don't go outside in the summer.
Don't go outside in the summer, and
don't scratch your eyes, and don't bet at all.
There you go.
Yeah.
Great advice. FMT merch coming soon, and it just says those things on it. I'd wear that t-shirt in the winter underneath a jumper, just as a base layer. Just
Definitely.
Got to stay warm in the winter,
Like
but that's your choice.
A bedtime t-shirt, maybe.
Oh, a lovely bedtime t-shirt. A lovely, exactly. That's what people.
You take off immediately as soon as you get out of bed. You're just like, yeah, I'm away.
Yes. Yeah, straight away.
What the hell is this? Just to bring back my catchphrase. That was a catchphrase.
Another one of Jeb's another of Jeb's classic catchphrases. Good. Well, I feel like we've touched most of the bases already. I think we've.
Yeah. Are we done?
I feel like it's going to be hard for us to improve from here, but I think we should probably try. Let's give it a go, shall we? Shall we give it a go?
Yeah. Go on.
Okay. Lovely. All right then. So on today's episode, I set some homework. For Jeb, because we're revisiting. We're doing a bit of a revisit today. We did this a little while ago, ironically, without Jeb. So Jeb gets his first crack at this today. I say crack at it like it's a competition. It's not really any kind of competition. It's just this episode's all about subjectivity, I suppose, in a roundabout kind of way. A little while ago, we did the perfect striker. We talked about strikers' attributes and 5 that you think make the perfect striker on Football Manager. Today, we're going to do it again, but not for strikers. We're moving way, way back, way further down the pitch. We're going to talk about fullbacks today. We're going to be talking about fullbacks. And the homework I set was 5 key attributes for a fullback on Football Manager that are not marking or tackling, because, you know, any kind of defensive player, those are 2 of the ones that you're probably going to be looking at straight away for them. I say probably. If they're not, then that's huge, and we'll have that conversation, right? But for most people, they're pretty much a gimme, I think, across the board. So 5 key attributes for a fullback, left back, right back, whichever you choose, whichever you prefer. I'm going to have a little bit of a chat about it. I'm excited because I like these. I've really, really enjoyed the strikers one, and I think I'm also going to enjoy this one. Jeb, as somebody who wasn't around for the first one of these episodes, you can go first. If you had to create the perfect fullback in Football Manager, left or right sided, what's the first attribute that you're looking at, that first key attribute when it comes to the perfect fullback, in your opinion?
Well, I'm just going to start off nice and simple. Is if you've got a massive pool of players, let's say loads of players to pick from, let's say like an entire country to pick from, maybe pick somebody who's qualified to play left back in your squad, not somebody who's
interesting,
like the third choice, but first choice right back, but third choice left back for your team. Maybe don't do that because, you know, the clues in the title, left back, usually they need to be left-footed. If you're a left back, you don't have that many people who will cut in on their other foot. At the full-back position, wingers, yes, you have inverted. We do have inverted full-backs, but invariably they are right-footed on the right side and left-footed on the left side, or both-footed, even better. But yeah, I'm just Kieran Trippier, he's not a left back, and
he's not, is he?
He's definitely not a left back when he's got nobody in front of him because Phil Foden's on the right wing cutting in. I'm just like, he's supposed to be, yeah. It's England rant over. Obviously, it might change by the end of tonight. Is it Tuesday that they're playing? I have no
Tuesday
idea.
night.
Yeah,
Tuesday night final group game.
Gomez might get in. Who knows? He
you never
obviously
know.
played left back a lot more than Kieran Trippier did this season. Luke Shaw was pointless taking, but yeah, that's probably really annoyed most of the country. I'd say half the country. Well, no. Well, if it's England, it's annoyed England. But yes, there's a few Scottish people around who just don't really care, and they'll get the Slovenia flags out on Tuesday night. So
absolutely.
So first attribute. Actually, marking and tackling is not in what I look for in a fullback, because my fullbacks are all attacking. I don't go defensive. Very rarely. I'll push to support if I'm going a little bit cautious with it. First one I look for, and Kev and Callum will probably back me up on this, crossing. I want a fullback that can cross the ball in. I want a wing back that can cross the ball in into the big man, into whoever's running into the box, and basically get those shots away. I mean, the amount of assists you can get from the fullback positions obviously has been proved by my beloved Trent and Robbo at Liverpool. I mean, they are leading assist makers pretty much every season. Yeah, crossing's really vital for it. I think it's just that thing to get to the byline and get the ball in, get those early crosses in. Obviously, they're a little bit more vital on them, so the early crosses, because they're the ones that will pick up the ball a little bit more. But yeah, that's what I'd go for.
Can I shock you? Can I shock you twice? Thank you. For the audio listeners, Jeb recoiled in shock.
I'll do the noise on the second one.
All right, thank you. Can I shock you again?
There you go.
Thank you. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to agree with you. I think that crossing on a fullback is, generally speaking, the first thing that I look for. Generally speaking, it's the first thing that I look for. I was never, and it's only a fairly recent thing that I've kind of got into it a little bit more. I was never that fussed about it previously, but I think especially after we did Broken Chelsea at the start of FM24, Reece James was like the linchpin of my Chelsea team, just because he had like exquisite crossing, and the amount of goals that I scored from Reece James, just, you know, hitting early crosses, hitting them deep, hitting them short, wherever, it just aim. They were so good, and it was rare that he didn't find somebody's head, and it just became this weapon in that Chelsea setup that I just didn't expect to have. You know, when I was setting up the team, I was like, this thing, it might be nice if it works, but it's not necessarily the way that I'm aiming to play. Especially considering I had Messi up front for the entire season. But yeah, crossing on a fullback is vital, and now it is literally the first attribute that I look at. If there's one thing that I've noticed with FM24 in terms of the new gen players that seem to come through in the fullback roles, it's very, very easy to find like a defensive fullback, like very similar to like your Nathan Ake's, for example, who've just been moved out onto the left-hand side, and they're still. It's the anti-Pulis, isn't it? When Pulis did it, I hated it. When Pep does it, I'm like, oh, you tactical genius, playing centre-backs as full-backs. Oh, my goodness. You've reinvented the wheel.
What about Uncle Pulis?
Yeah, that's the one.
Sorry, you talked about anti-Pulis. Go cover Uncle Pulis.
Cousin Pulis. When Pep does it, he's lauded as a genius by me. I think it's very easy to find that kind of breed of full-backs. But your good old-fashioned, the attacking ones, like your players like your Reece Jameses or your Robbos or your Trents, that have that crossing ability, they're quite rare. I've got one at Wolfsburg at the moment in my What's the Story save, and Belgian fullback. It took me ages to find a really good one because I was scouting for new gens. Like, oh, this one's really defensive. This one's really defensive. Like you, I use them as a more attacking entity in the team. And it took ages to find one with the good crossing. I was more excited about signing him than I have been about some of the just wonder kids or other players that I've picked up over the course of the save. Vitally, vitally, vitally important. And I say it just adds that new attacking dimension to your team. So 100% agree with you. Crossing is the first one on my list every single time. It's so important to the way that my teams play. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What's your second one? Is it also going to be the same as one of mine? These are the questions.
We talked about uncles earlier. I'm going to talk about an auntie. An auntie. Anticipation. I think that's how you pronounce it, isn't it? Anticipation. 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 Yeah. I think it's an underrated attribute just across the board, and it's something that I probably would have put on the striker as well. Just being aware of the events that are happening around them. So when to defend, when to attack, when to push up, when to overlap. Anticipation is really important for that. So scenarios, obviously, when you're attacking and let's say the winger's being pressed quite hard, I mean, just get that overlap going if you've got that instruction on, making sure that you're getting back into position if they're attacking down either wing. I think anticipation is really important.
Okay, yeah, I can see where you're going with that one. And anticipation, it does make a lot of sense for a fullback. I mean, again, it's not necessarily one of the five that I really, really look for in terms of the fullbacks, but I can see where you're going with it. I can absolutely see where you're going with it. For me, after crossing, I would say stamina probably is the next one on my list because, as you said, most of the time my fullbacks are a pretty integral part of my attack. I'm expecting them to get up and down the flank quite a lot. And if they've got the stamina, when it comes to setting up my team, so I'm setting up my bench, I'm looking at, right, some of these players are going to run themselves into the ground after about an hour to 70-minute mark. So I'm going to need backup central midfielders. I'm going to need a backup striker. If I'm looking at my team, if I'm right on paper, my fullbacks should be able to play the full 90. Like if I've got somebody who's got the stamina, 17 and above is perfect for me. If I've got somebody who's got that really, really high stamina, I don't need to worry about, okay, I'm going to need to make a change an hour into the game because he's going to be spent. It's one less thing to have to worry about. Obviously, I'll have a backup on there, in case of injuries or, just in case they're dropping an absolute stinker. But if they're playing well, I'm happy to just leave them to it and not have to worry about making that change due to tiredness. So for me, crossing and then stamina, I would say they're probably very, very close in terms of importance. I know I've just hyped up crossing and how vital it is, but I would take somebody who had slightly less crossing ability if it meant that they had higher stamina, because I think that's how important I look at those two. I want somebody that can run and somebody that can cross, realistically speaking. Those for me, the key two. Everything else, my other three are less important, but I think those are the big two: crossing, stamina. Somebody who's got decent for both, you're on to an absolute winner. Weirdly enough, Reece James has got really, really high crossing and stamina. What's the chances? What are the chances?
Until somebody kicks him and then he's out.
Until somebody kicks him, slight gust of wind.
Yeah.
He's done his shoes up a little bit too tight. All of these things you have to take into consideration with Reece. So, but if you can get him on the pitch, he should be okay.
Yeah. No, I understand that. So you're saying Reece James is ace at stamina and crossing?
Yes, he's ace at those two things. Yes.
Just those, but obviously other things as well. Cool.
Oh, he's got other. There's other. There's other strings to his bow.
It's funny you should say ace, because my next one is ace Laration. So yeah, that's what I'm going for. That's acceleration. Some people call
acceleration.
Acceleration. I'm so sure people call it acceleration, but no, acceleration is what I go for. To be fair, I go for this with a striker as well. I'm thinking of Mickey. I think Mickey Quinn's always a famous one. A tubby lad, but he can cover 2 yards faster than anyone in the entire world and put it in the back of the net. I can't actually think of anybody. Maybe Harry Kane, actually. Harry Kane cannot run at all, as we found out in the next few weeks, but you put the ball and he can hit it anyway. But as a fullback, acceleration is really important because you need that little bit of injection of pace, but immediately. If you've got to catch up onto a winger if you're defending, or if you just want to get past the opposite wing back. I think acceleration is underestimated how important it is. I think people always look at pace and acceleration. You can go look at the Zealand video where he tells you the game's broken. I think I did actually find a case for it in my save, where there is somebody who's just got pace and acceleration. His attributes aren't very good, but he's the best player for the team that he's playing for. I was like, oh no, the American is right. If only someone could beat him. If only someone could beat him in a game. Stay tuned. Right. Having acceleration, having the crossing. So that's the other part of it. So having that acceleration, so you can just run on, put that quick cross into the striker, is quite important for me. I think I'm very attacking, like I said, with my fullbacks. I want them to be the assist makers. I want them to be the assist to the assist makers, and invariably that kind of happens. It might be the reason why I have terrible ratings on my fullbacks, because they don't defend very well. But I'm seeming to get a tick out of the fullbacks that I've got now in both my saves that are running concurrently. So
I think that's an interesting point in itself, isn't it? I think fullback ratings are notoriously difficult to get above certain ratings. It's almost because I think fullbacks are, realistically, I think they're one of the most subjective positions on the pitch for a lot of people, because I think everybody uses them differently, and that's that's part of the reason I was really excited to make them the base of this week's episode. Strikers, I mean, you've got a little bit of variation between strikers. Kev Callum and I covered it when we did our perfect one last time. Kev's perfect striker and my perfect striker look very, very, very different. There's probably at least a foot of height difference between them. And that's fair enough. That's physicality, and that's build, and that's everything else. In terms of the actual attributes, there's always going to be a little bit of crossover. Fullbacks, people use them in such different ways. Like I said, we will use them as the basis of our attack. I've had runs on FM where I'm like, no, I do not want my fullback ever crossing the halfway line. That's just not what I want them in my team for. It's so it varies so deeply across the board. The way the game measures their in-game rating. What are you measuring it against? If you've got a fullback who has had a really, really solid game defensively, but hasn't contributed to anything in the attack, is that going to affect their overall rating? If you've got a fullback who's assisted twice, but has let his opposition winger skin him, 7 or 8 times during that game, and they've conceded goals because he's missed tackles, it's a really, really hard thing. I think it's a really difficult thing for the game to say, right, has he had a good game? or has he just assisted a couple of times? I had it the other night in the in a game we might have played with Zealand again. Like one of my fullbacks was, he'd done nothing all game. He'd been absolutely battered and torn apart by the opposition winger, but then he got a couple of late assists and his rating just shot up instantly. And I was like, that doesn't seem like a realistic like representation of his game. And vice versa. I had one. He assisted very, very early doors, and normally that will give him a right boost. And then by the end of the game, even though he picked up an assist, he still finished on like a 6-7 or something like that. Because again, he'd been so bad defensively. So it is an interesting one. It is definitely. It'd be interesting to see if you could, if there was a bit more insight as to how those fullbacks pick up those ratings. Do they have to be good at everything to pick up those higher ratings, or can they get away with just being good attacking or being good defensively? I've asked a question I don't have the answer to. That's weird. What are the chances?
Nice.
Again, quite high. So that's interesting. You've talked about acceleration. I was going to talk about concentration. I was trying to think of something that I couldn't. Concentration. No, just concentration for me. Concentration. So this is one for me. Concentration feeds in quite, in terms of the mental attributes. Concentration. There's another one I'm going to talk about shortly as well. I think they kind of tend to go a bit hand in hand as well. But for me, concentration. And I think this brings us back to just talking about, what the expectations of your fullbacks are and how they get, how the metrics are measured in terms of what they can accomplish.
Sorry, what did you say? I was looking at someone else.
Okay, cool. Bye, everybody. I think the concentration, because, if I look at my Wolfsburg team, for example, they have defensive responsibilities and attacking responsibilities. And I want somebody who's going to be focused on the game the whole way through, because I use wing backs in my system. I've got defensive wing backs. They're pushing up the pitch to support attacks, but at the same time they've got to be switched on enough to know that if the opposition winger or one of the wide players picks up the ball, they're going to have to be tracking back and defending. Now, if I'm looking at the Belgian one that I spent a lot of money on this season, he's got very, very good stamina, 15 concentration as well, which means that he's up and down. He's going to when the if the attacks break down and his defensive responsibilities kick in, he's going to be switched on enough to realize that that's what's going on. Because even though, again, he's got good acceleration, so he has got the potential to catch up players if he needs to, but ideally, I'd like him there in front of the oncoming winger to be able to stand him up to try, get them, make those challenges, slow down that, the counter attacks, or slow down that passage of play. Because he's switched on enough to be able to do it, and he doesn't have to rely on that pace to get him back into the right positions. He's just already there, and that gives him a much better chance of breaking down those attacks, regaining possession, and then possibly going down the other end and counter-attacking ourselves. So for me, concentration is one of the big uns. That's absolutely a very, very important thing for me. And I'm trying to do this without setting you up for something obvious for your next one. So I feel like I have accomplished that, Jeb.
I don't know. I think you got a little bit aggy when I made the concentration joke. Which kind of brings me on to our next one. Yeah, exactly. Brings me on to our next one. And this actually comes from the network save, and it's something that I've got in both my fullbacks on the network save. One of them, well, both of them were only signed in the January transfer window, and both of them are performing outstandingly. One of them was expected, the other one wasn't. They both have really high Aggie Litty. see. I'm always here. So, using their Aggie Litty, or I think agility, as some people try to pronounce it. Yeah, so I signed Alphonso Davies.
You did, and I was really happy about it, because I definitely haven't spent 2 years trying to sign him for United. Definitely exactly.
Not. Alphonso Davies came 75 million, actually, a bargain. Like he had a minimum free release clause, which I didn't expect to have. But there we are. So yeah, he's got really high agility, as has my Brazilian right back, who hasn't really got much about him. You actually look at him and you go, oh, he's quite good physically, but everything else is pretty rubbish except determination. But that agility goes hand in hand with acceleration and also the crossing side of things. I think it's just having that ability to get into those spaces is really important as well. particularly again on the attacking side. I use attacking fullbacks. Hi. I don't know if you've been listening to my TED talk. I'm an attacking fullback guy. But yeah, it's also quite important on the defensive side of things. You do need to be able to get into the position and just get those blocks in. I think the amount of blocks fullbacks make, particularly on the corners of the area from crosses or from speculative shots, is underrated actually. But both of the fullbacks that I've got currently at Liverpool have been brilliant. Like for this past couple of games, they are my two highest rated players. I've had a look through Fonzie and Maroja, who is a Brazilian right back who's 18. But yeah, having those two has been a big change to the system and the way we work things, particularly because I'm playing a narrow formation, so we rely on those fullbacks to bomb up and down those wings and actually be the wingers as well as being the fullbacks. It's important to have that agility so you can get into those positions, and like I said, coupling with the crossing, with the acceleration, and what my last attribute will be. What could it be? What could it be?
Who knows? Who knows? I think we'll find out shortly.
It's long throws. It's not.
It's long throws. Of course. It's why wouldn't it be long throws? Originally, all 5 were going to be long throws for me, but couldn't make it work. Yeah, that is an interesting one. I mean, I'm still very bitter about the Alphonso Davies transfer. I just want to make that abundantly clear to everybody. I spent 2 years trying to sign him, and he wasn't interested. And I had to move players. I had to get Malacia out on loan. I had to do all these things. And then when I finally had the funds to sign him, considering he was, according to his agent, interested the whole way through, and it's like, oh, no, I've just signed a new deal. So I'm really not that fussed anymore. Then 6 months later, Jeb's Liverpool comes in. He's like, oh, yeah, the Premier League. That sounds like brilliant fun. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, I'm absolutely made up about that. And I'm really, really happy for you that you've managed to sign him.
You sound it.
Yeah, I do. Thank you. And it is genuine. It is genuine. I don't want people thinking that I'm not. I don't want people thinking that I'm being facetious here. No, stand by
see you
it.
on Wednesday.
So we'll see you on Wednesday. It sounds like a threat. And it is one. It is one. Look, I think my penultimate attribute, because obviously we've just talked about we talked about concentration.
Is it penalties? Is it penalty?
It's penalty taking.
Pen ultimate, right? I see what you're saying.
Yeah, pen ultimate. Yeah, it's
ultimate
penalty
taking.
Penalties. Yes, it's penalty taking, and that's what I'm going to say.
There you go. Right, my go now. Yeah, nice one.
No, weirdly enough, no, it's not penalty taking. I said previously we talked about concentration. Mine goes hand in hand with the concentration side of things. It's the positioning. So positioning again for me. Key attribute on those fullbacks. I'm still too nervous. To even dabble with the concept of inverted fullbacks. It's not something that I've ever tried in any of my tactics on Football Manager, because in my mind, I don't want a fullback who's cutting inside the pitch and is going on runs through the middle. That's not their purpose. I set up my teams in very specific ways. The wide players generally do wide player things. The central players do central player things, and never the two shall mix. So the way that I'm setting up, again, they're going to be wide. They're going to be supporting the wingers. If I'm playing a system with wingers, if I'm doing similar to you with your Liverpool side, and I'm playing narrow, they are the width in the team. I don't want them drifting in and out and doing different things. So again, the positioning for me couples so nicely into that concentration, because if they're on the attack, I've got my wing back setters. They're playing defensively. They're not going to get too high up the pitch, but they're there supporting that attack. So if it breaks down, they are an outlet for passes, so we can start the attacking moves again. Combine that with the good crossing, we're instantly creating opportunities. If they've got decent passing, they can move the ball back inside. Passing isn't one of my 5, but if it's something they have, it's a bonus. But it's that works for me. So the positioning, if the positioning is good, again, they're always going to be in the right place at the right time, give or take, which means they're going to be able to, support the attacks. They're going to be, combine that with the concentration. They're going to be in the right place for if the attack breaks down, they're ready to put the tackles in or press the opposition. So if they've got good concentration and they've got good positioning, again, a big part of it for me is that if they are in the right place at the right time, it gives them a better chance to do their job, be it attacking or be it defensive. So if both of those are high, I think that makes your fullback an exceptionally better player straight away. So for me, say crossing, stamina, concentration, positioning. Those are my first four. Jeb, you've got one left, and apparently it's not going to surprise us at all.
So yeah, I've got a crossing. I've got Auntie, Cipation, Ace, Acceleration, Agility. Excuse me, just a bit.
Okay, then.
Sip of water. My mouth was quite dry. And my last attribute is dry bling. Yes. The art of running down the wing.
Oh, good.
I bet Kevin Callum are glad they're not here today. Right,
Good.
anyway, yeah, so dry bling. Yes.
Good.
If you're going to have that agility or agility or ace acceleration, you need to have some dribbling about you. Obviously, in the network, say where I said I'm playing a narrow formation, that's even more important because they are effectively my wingers. Just having that ability to have the ball at the feet and bring the ball out of defence. I regularly do try and play out of defence, so I'll have ball playing defenders and attacking fullbacks. So yeah, I think having a bit of technique and dribbling on the ball, or dribbling, I think some people call it weirdly. Yeah, having dribbling is really important, especially if you want to get past the player, have that crossing, can add a little bit of flair in there and technique, but obviously dribbling is probably the more important one, just to have the confidence to bring the ball out of defence from the fullback positions, to get into those positions using their agility. Agility. You got that agility, have you? Yeah. Oh, bloody hell. Right, anyway. Northern moment. But yeah.
Sorry, listeners from the north of England. That was
how dare you?
Quite good.
I'm from
Quite
the
good,
north,
I thought, yeah.
Exactly. Well, it's quite good because I am northern.
Exactly. That's how it works. But I still somehow feel the need to apologise. It's weird. Sorry.
Unbelievable. Yes, so having that agility is rather important, and then you can put the cross in, and then the big guy in the middle gets on the end. Bang, goal, done. There you go. That is the 5 attributes I look for in a fullback, and you could potentially say a winger because I'm not.
There's crossover there.
Yeah,
There's a bit of crossover.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying it. Synergy. There you go. Yeah.
Synergy.
Yeah.
Synergy. Yeah, it's important. It's very important. Which ironically is my final synergy. It's my fault. It's not, because it doesn't exist. Again, I'm going to be boring here because I think most of mine. I mean, so far I've got a technical attribute, I've got a physical attribute, and I've got 2 mental attributes. My final attribute is also going to be a mental one.
Crazy.
Because it's good. I've gone bonkers. It's flair. Can you imagine? But short for Ric Flair. I want them to fall over and inexplicably start bleeding. Okay. And then just never retire as well. So it's one less thing for me to have to worry about recruitment. He'll play till he's 60, badly, but he'll do it. No, my final is one of the mental attributes. We've talked about concentration. We've talked about positioning. The final one for me, again, it ties into especially that physical with the stamina. Ties in, especially because of how I set up with my wide players. Work rate is the other one for me. It links everything together because, players with high work rate, they're going to be taking advantage of that stamina. They're going to be taking advantage of that positioning. They're going to be taking advantage of, having good concentration. They're going to be taking advantage of having good crossing because they're always going to be working hard to put themselves in the positions where they can make the most of those attributes together. If I've got somebody who is going to put in a shift for the full 90 minutes, they're always going to be able to do what I expect them to be doing or what I hope they're going to be doing over the course of the game. Because, again, high work rate, high energy, full 90 minutes of running, full 90 minutes of, putting themselves in positions where they can put in those good crosses, full 90 minutes of tracking back and defending when necessary. If that work rate is high, it gives them the ability to do all of those things. Work rate is one of those attributes that I think it crops up quite a lot. If you look at some of the formerly very, very good players on the game whose attributes have kind of declined over the years, the work rates always seem to be very, very low. And it's one like if you look at somebody like Tony Marshall at Man United, if you especially in draft mode, his work rate drops mostly year on year on year on year. A lot of his other attributes are very, very good, but they're let down by things like low work rate. If you boosted that work rate, suddenly he becomes a very, very good player again because he's putting himself in a position to take advantage of his other still surprisingly good attributes. He's got a lot of good physical attributes, he's got a lot of good technical attributes. Give him good work rate and he's actually going to be able to take advantage of those. But because it's so low, he will underperform for you because he's just not putting in the effort. And that's a big thing. That's one of the things that I like. It's players that put in the effort. So give me a fullback with really good stamina, really high work rate, really good positioning and concentration, and the ability to cross a ball. And I think you've got one of the best looking fullbacks on the game for my money. It's a position where if they have good enough physical and mental attributes, I think that they can make up for lower technical attributes. It's one of those roles. If they're willing to run, if they're willing to put the effort in, they can kind of you can make a little bit of leeway for some slightly lower technicals. But isn't it interesting as well that, I don't know if you're the same as me, I've been looking at some of the players that I've signed in my What's the Story save, and again, it's really reassuring to me that a lot of the players that we've been talking about, a lot of the attributes we've been talking about, I'm looking at my fullbacks and they all have them. That means I'm also practicing what I preach, which makes me feel really, really good about myself, almost like I know what I'm talking about. So that's lovely. That's
yeah,
good. Sure. Yeah, sure it is.
Sure.
So this is where you come in, audience. Hello, audience. Let us know.
Hi.
Let us know. My goodness gracious me, you gave us some wonderful feedback when we talked about strikers. So if you would like to do the same now for fullbacks, give us your top, the five most important attributes for a fullback on Football Manager. Obviously, we are ignoring tackling and marking because traditionally they are more defensive players, and those are arguably two of the more important defensive attributes. So we'll wipe those from the options. Give us your other five. Let us know. Give us real life examples. If you've not got, if you're talking about new gens, send us some screenshots. Chuck them on the Discord. Talk to us about it on YouTube. Comment sections everywhere. Just talk to us. Talk to us. We are desperate. Absolutely desperate. Please talk to us. We're so lonely.
Somebody talk to us, please.
Please. Yeah, lovely stuff. Let us know. Let us know what you're into. Let us know what you look for in your fullbacks, and we'll silently judge you. I think that's a fair. I think that's a fair thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you say anything completely crazy, we'll call you out publicly and go, "What? You're into flair in a fullback? No. I mean, unless it's Marcelo, then that's completely justifiable, I suppose." Speaking of Marcelo and somebody who has signed him in one of his saves this year, Jeb, you were managing Morecambe earlier in the year, weren't you? And then you've made some questionable life choices.
I've not made any questionable life choice at all. Where we left it off,
what's going on with your save at the moment?
We were doing all right in League
you?
2. Yeah, we were doing all right in League 2 with Morecambe.
Yeah.
And we won the league. It was really well done, to be fair. My favourite part, I think we signed Dele Alli, and he got us a goal. He got us a couple of goals. It was all right.
A whole goal.
Yeah. Marcus Dackers was still a revelation. Like, he ended the season with 18 goals this season, so it wasn't as many as last season, but he seemed to play a little bit more part in other goals. Shaqiri was the big player that we had. Hi, Scotland. Shaqiri, you don't know that guy, yeah? Yeah, we had him at Morecambe. Yeah, he scored a last-minute equaliser to clinch us the title. So that was quite nice. And then we just fell apart in the last two games, and we didn't go for the record points total, which is a bit frustrating. So we got promoted to League One. Initial budgets came out. I had 28k in my transfer budget. I know. Wow. Far too much. And they gave me an extra 4k in my wage budget. I was like, oh, yes, I'm going to make this. And then all the wage rises, wage rises came in.
Wage rises.
They all came in, and obviously that eliminated all that budget that I had. So at the same time, I was being offered interviews left, right, and centre for various championship level clubs, we started memeing those interviews initially, and then we started taking them seriously. One of them came in. It was Sheffield United.
Ugh.
Rivals to Sheffield Wednesday. Who you support, I do believe, Rich.
I do. I
Yeah.
do support Sheffield Wednesday, Jeb. You are correct. Yeah.
Oh,
And what a club they are.
That's a shame, isn't it? So for Jeb
It
Law,
really
this is going into Jeb Law. At university, I did a placement year at Sheffield United as an assistant conference and banqueting manager. I had to wear a suit and everything every day. It was horrible. Well, wearing the suit, I just don't understand. Right. Anyway, so so I did that, and then I carried on working there just casually. I was at uni in Leeds, so I was basically travelling down to Sheffield every weekend for every match day, and then various functions that happened afterwards. Then I ran all the public catering for 3 years. So I had 5 years at Sheffield United, and they became almost like a second team to me, or third team if you take Morecambe out of there. So they came in, and they went, "Oh, do you want to come?" Yeah. Wage, they're in the championship. They'd finished 8th, I think. Yeah, they finished 8th, so they just finished outside of the playoff places. That's the one.
There you go.
They had such players on their team such as Moranchuk, Cameron Archer was there, Patson Daka, Elias Chair. They were there. And then in the interview they went, would a transfer budget of 64 million suit you in the championship? I was like, oh. What's the wage budget like? They went, would a wage budget of 1.8 million suit you in the championship? I was like, it's difficult. I'll say, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll go with that. I don't want any more. I don't want to be greedy. I don't want to ask for any less because they might get upset and say, "Oh, we're giving you all this money."
Did you play that invisible trumpet in the interview when they were asking?
No.
1.8 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we went in there, and yeah, we took over. We went in. We went to Sheffield United. So we kind of followed the path of life. We skipped out Manchester and Leeds, but we ended up going to Sheffield, where we moved in our early 20s, and we took over there. And yeah, all that money has proved quite helpful. So all those players that are listed, Elias Chair, gone. Patson Daka, gone. Moranchuk, gone. There was even somebody I didn't even realise they had. He'd already been sold for 25 million, so I got another 25 million in my budget. I was like, okay, cool. Who was it? It was, let's just have a quick double check. I tried to put it in list. Ibrahima Kone, so he went for 24 million to Elche. I was like, okay, fair enough. We also had Milinkovic Savic, not that one, the goalkeeper one. He went
The other one.
well. Got rid of him. And we started off, our first signing was Dovbik, or Dog Biscuits, as Kev used to call him. We signed him he was at Leeds, of all places. He wasn't doing very well. He scored 6 goals in 2 seasons at Leeds in the Premier League. He's done all right for us. We then brought in James Trafford as the goalkeeper. We brought in another Leeds player two more Leeds players in Cenk Azakar, you know that guy, and also a Rutter on a free, like he was just available on a free. They didn't want to sign him back up again, so there we go. Brought those in. Tom Davis is in the midfield, which was a bit weird. Kind of just ignored him. He's still there. I brought in James McAtee, who was obviously on loan at them last season. I brought him in. He was at Birmingham after leaving Man City, so he's coming to the midfield. Who else have we brought in? We brought in... yes, that was it. RDF Tactics.
You signed RDF Tactics? Nice.
No, RDF Tactics. He has a favourite player. He's Spanish. Do you know who I mean immediately? Because he signs in pretty much all the time, as much as he can.
Yes, I know exactly. I don't know. I can't remember his name, but I know exactly who you're talking about. Yes.
I'm on RDF Tactics trades. Alex Collado, I signed him, so we got him in. He came to the championship from, I think he was at Zaragoza. No, he's at Empoli, so he'd moved on from Real Betis. He'd gone to Empoli. He'd done all right there. Brought him into the championship, and he's been a phenomenon. Anyway, long story short, in the Premier League, where I am Liverpool, we played 32 games. All right, I've only been manager for probably about 10 of them. We got 50 points. In the Championship, We have played 19 games. I have 48 points. We are unstoppable. Like we had a little wobble, the tiniest of wobbles against Sunderland, but other than that, we've been phenomenal. Alex Collado has got 12 goals and 6 assists. Dov Bick has got 8 goals. Jonathan Rowe, who's a winger, I think he's at Norwich at the start. He's got 4 goals and 9 assists. He's already on for the assist record for Sheffield United, and we're still in October. So yeah, we've got 48 points. I looked it up earlier in the week. 106 points is a record championship points total. We could aim for that. Obviously, we are hitting mid-season shortly, and mid-season's tend to happen. On the other side of things, we spent a bit of money. I've had a look at FFP. We are in a bit of trouble on it, but we are getting rid of Ryan Brewster and a couple of other players in January. They're already lined up to leave. But yeah, there's already a central defender that they've got, a Spanish central defender. He is 6'4".
Okay.
So that's quite handy.
Well, yeah.
He also has a jumping reach of 20.
Okay.
And he's 20 years old. So just in case he needs a bit more of a competitive advantage. He's got 13 heading, so that can improve. But yeah, he's got 16 balance as well, and 17 aggression and 18 determination. He's quite good. I'm trying to keep hold of him, but surprisingly, people are interested in him. Who'd have thought it?
That's weird. What are the chances?
I know, exactly.
That's ever so strange.
And then on transfer deadline day, I just signed 3 straight up wonder kids. Like they all came in at once. It was great, and I've still got I was just looking there in my finances. I've still got 33 million and 400k left in the wage budget. I don't think we're going to touch either of them just yet. I think we're just going to leave them alone. We're fine as we are. Yeah, we signed 3 wonder kids. One was Matteo Mastini, who was at Liverpool, but the one in Uruguay. He's 20 years old. He's a central midfielder. He has 16 first touch, 17 passing, 16 technique, and 15 determination, and 15 vision. That's quite good.
That's quite good, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite good for a 20-year-old. We also signed a guy called Penazzola, who was a striker. I signed a wonder kid from PSG. Exactly.
Yeah. How the turntables.
Exactly. He's a forward. He's got 17 finishing, 14 composure, 15 technique, 15 off the ball, 16 stamina, and he's got a little bit of pace about him as well as an advanced forward. And then the other one, just because of his name, Tom Jones. Signed Tom Jones. He's Welsh as well.
Of course he is.
He was at Middlesbrough. He's a fullback. He's a fullback. Auntie, Cipation, 13. Ace, Acceleration, 16. What else were we looking for? Crossing's on the 11, dribbling's on the 8, but he's improving on that. And he does, he has got all the teamwork vision, teamwork positioning, vision, and work rate. I kind of just put them as a 4. I always look at that and just see if they're green, I'm quite happy. If the blue, even better. That's the colour scheme we go off. But yeah. Yep. So yeah, I would say we're reasonably smashing the championship. It could be quite an easy season. I've streamed a bit of it this week, and like I said, I wouldn't say it got boring, but yeah, it was just one of those where we were just winning games, and we just really couldn't stop. And we'll see where it goes. We just drew 0-0 with... Yeah, of course, we beat Fulham 2-0, who were second in the table. We beat Fulham 2-0. They didn't have a shot at home. We beat them 2-0. We had 30... I think we had 30 shots, something like that. Then we played Peterborough, who are bottom of the table. We drew 0-0, because, Football Manager.
Yeah. Yes. Because Football Manager, exactly. That's exactly for why. That's how it works.
So that's where it is. That's where life is in my going home save. It's now called going home-ish, because we're really going home. Maybe I'll end up in Nottingham, who knows. We'll see where we get to. But yeah, it's been quite nice so far. FFP is a worry, but they are giving me all this money. It's not like the Liverpool save where they've said, spend all the money. That was one of my objectives. I've never seen that before, but there we go.
No, that is a new one.
Yeah. Just spend all the money and do it now. Okay. And then, we're in FFP trouble. I was like, well, you tell me to spend all the money.
You told me to, yeah.
Yeah, what am I supposed to do? But
exactly.
Yes, that's pretty much where we are.
Lovely. I mean, it adds it's a really weird dynamic to a save, isn't it? When, especially if you're moving around quite a lot and you go to a club and then suddenly you've gone from, not necessarily grinding it out, but you've gone from Morecambe where you could make the argument that you might have overachieved by, getting out of League Two, and you're getting promoted to League One. They're giving you like what, a 28k transfer budget, which isn't a huge amount of money, weirdly enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then moving to a Championship team with a 67 million pound transfer kitty, and it really changes the dynamic of a save, because, like I say, you go from struggling or really having to work at it, and then suddenly you're like, oh, we're just going to win every single game because we've got the best team in the division and loads of money to spend. I mean, do you think that, how much work have you got to do to make that team competitive in the Premier League? I mean, you've already got the Wonder Kids, which sounds like they're going to be
if they can keep hold of them, I don't think there's too much. And
the foundations.
Actually we did look at Morecambe a few times. Morecambe haven't changed much. They've signed one player who I brought up earlier. Obviously, I can only see limited attributes because I've not scouted them fully. Marcus Dackers is he's top scorer in the division. Yeah, he's got 9 goals this season already. He's currently injured. They're currently 8th in League One, so they're competing quite well. But the person with the highest thing, the only 2 attributes that are green are pace and acceleration, and he is a winger, and that's it. So it's kind of backing up Zealand's point about players in FM, which maybe there'll be a sneaky patch coming in the next couple of weeks, maybe to address that. But yeah, Dele Alli is not getting much love. He's had 8 sub appearances. He's got an average rating of 6.38. It's very weird though, because Dele Alli's got nothing there, but isn't he like a full-time? Isn't he at Watford or somewhere like that in our network save where we're almost in the same season? It's amazing how like 1 year has just completely destroyed Dele Alli.
But he's still getting Premier League football in the network save, I think. So
yeah.
He's part of that. I think he is part of that really, really, really weird Watford team.
Yeah.
That they beat us all to the signing of Alexis McAllister, but then for the majority of the save they've been starting Daniel Amate. So that's such a weird Watford team in our network save.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure that he is still there. That does sound about right to me. Well. Best of luck, I suppose. I hope you get promoted, and I hope it all goes really well.
I'm sure.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Sheffield Wednesday are in the League One. They're doing all right.
Okay.
So I'll give them that.
I think they're in League Two in the network save. So again, what a drastic improvement from them there.
Yeah,
is the network save they're in League Two, or is it in my What's the Story save? I've got the What's the Story save open just for reference. No, they're in the Championship in this universe, so it must be the network save they're in League 2.
They are also, sorry, I've not given them their full name. They are Wayne Rooney's Sheffield Wednesday.
Wayne Rooney's Sheffield. Good.
Yeah, he's never done anything wrong, so it's fine.
He's never done anything wrong, and never will again.
Yep.
He's everybody's hero.
Good luck, Plymouth.
Yep. Cheers for that. Thanks, Wayne. Hope it all goes brilliantly. Well, there we go. I mean, that to me sounds like a pretty comprehensive roundup of your save, and I'm looking forward to hear what happens next for you in a roundabout kind of way, because it is Sheffield United. Interesting that you should bring up Zealand there, though. Very interesting. You should bring up Zealand.
Did I bring him up? Oh yeah, didn't I?
You might have brought him up once or twice there. He might have come up once or twice in that conversation.
Do you want me to do an intro for this? Would that help?
Could you?
Yeah.
Could you?
Give me a second.
All right.
ECUADOR! I didn't know what to do.
That bit, but there we are.
Perfect. Thank you. That's exactly what I was hoping it was going to be. Thank you very much. We talked about this at length last week. A couple of weeks ago, Kev, Callum, and I all took part in Zealand's Euro 2024 network save, one night only.
How popular I am! I get invited.
Oh, look, we're all so popular. Well, if you're going to keep going to London, this is what's going to happen.
Going to London to be popular, it's not working.
It's not the same. This week, Zealand did Copa America, and we got to do that one as well. Callum, Kev, and I. Callum, Kev, and I. Jeb was there in spirit. Jeb was definitely there in spirit. We all took part in that as well. I made it to the semi-finals of the Copa America with Ecuador, hence the wonderful song. A wonderful time was had by all. Kev made it to the final because Kev got Brazil. Callum did not make it to the final. because he had, I think, Costa Rica. Pretty sure Callum had Costa Rica, who weirdly enough aren't quite as good as Ecuador or Brazil, which is ever so weird. So I met Kev in the semi-finals. His Brazil team absolutely smashed me, and then Kev made it to the final, where Daveness did an absolute madness with the American team, with the USA,
Rigged.
and won the whole thing. Zealand was very happy about that, by the way. Weirdly enough,
Rigged.
Zealand,
Rigged.
yeah,
Definitely rigged.
definitely rigged. But yeah, Z was delighted. We had a lovely time, and I got to play Z this time. Actually, there you go. If I wanted to call the podcast, we played FM24 with Zealand, not clickbait. Actually played him this time. That would work. I'm not going to. If you're listening to this and that is the title, it's because I've bottled it at the last minute. But no, we had a lovely time. I was described by Zealand, and I think this is arguably a press quote for me now. Unsettling dad energy, which is quite on brand, I think. Yeah. Oh, didn't I do well? But yeah, I played Zealand. He had Venezuela, which he was absolutely delighted about. And we played out a really, really fun 4-2, where he hit the post in the 95th minute to potentially equalise. He was 3-2 down, hit the post with a 95th minute header. Then I went at the other end and scored to make it 4-2. So a lovely time was had by all. It was lovely to spend a bit of time with Zealand. Lovely, lovely person. And thanks, Z, for having us all again. It was really, really great fun.
You did promo the podcast once, though. It's unbelievable.
I didn't promo the podcast once, no. It's because somebody pinned a message. Somebody pinned a message in my chat. Don't mention the podcast. Don't mention the podcast. Don't mention the podcast.
I think you did mention it, but he had you on like mute, so you couldn't hear you. You'd done it at perfect time.
At that point, I think he muted me. Yeah, which is fair enough. Which is absolutely fair enough. I got nervous, but no, it was brilliant fun. Absolutely brilliant fun. And as it turns out, I quite like the Ecuadorian national team. When I was on the wheel first this time, because he spins the wheels to draw all the teams, because I was the last person to get a spot in the draft. I think I went first on the wheel. And when Ecuador came up, I was really angry about it. And then I looked at the team. I was like, oh, I know 5 of these players. We might be able to do something. So get those 5 players in the system and then work around them. And that's all we did. And it was loads of fun. I had a cracking time. So thank you, Z. I will take a Copa America semi-final with Ecuador. I think that shows that I've given a fairly decent account of myself there, I think. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that as a set of circumstances. But yeah, good times were had by all. A lovely old time. Lovely. So thank you, Z. That was really, really good. It's weird, actually. It is a weird one because in terms of my streaming recently, I haven't streamed on my own for about a fortnight now because it's either been one night only kind of, draft comp or, kind of network saves with Zealand and members of the community, or it's been the FMT network save. I haven't actually done a What's the Story stream in about two and a half weeks now. We'll probably change that at some point this week, but more importantly than that, network save season 6, Jeb, it's coming to a close on Wednesday night this week.
Yeah, so last Monday we started with an important game, a really important game, which was I fully suited up. We won the League Cup, won the Carabao Cup. The second trophy I've won in the time I've been managing in the network save. Kev's won none. Just pointing out there. You've won. I think you've won 2 now, so we're 2 each. That's how it works.
I've won 2. Yeah, I've won 2. Kev's won 0. You've won 2-ish.
Yeah, 2. Yeah, maybe even more than 2, obviously, because the why Callum had the baby cup was very, very, very prestigious.
It is true. Yeah.
Some say it's a one-off tournament because other people can't organise tournaments. So,
yeah, there is that. There is definitely that.
But we've got an interesting game to start off this week, haven't we, Rich?
We have. We absolutely do.
Finally balanced in the Champions League quarterfinals.
Mm-hmm.
First leg was 1-1, and the second leg is what's that? The pigsty that is Old Trafford.
That's right. Yeah. Big leaky roof.
Yep.
That's where they're coming. Yeah. So we start off Wednesday night stream this coming Wednesday. So if you're listening to this on Patreon,
we're going prime time.
We are prime time Wednesday night streaming, baby.
Yeah.
Big leagues. So if you're listening to this on Patreon, it's not tonight, it's in 2 days. If you're listening to this publicly on the day the podcast comes out, it's tomorrow. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, it's tonight. If you're listening to this on Thursday, then it was yesterday. You've missed it. Shame on you.
But
No shame, really.
I've got a slight issue in my Champions League squad in that I haven't got all the players in there. So I'm missing the aforementioned right back. I'm missing the guy Kone, who was signed from Wolves, my old Wolves squad. I'm missing Mateus Tell. I'm missing various players on there, but like I put in this narrow system a couple of weeks ago, and it's kind of worked out quite well. I think I won 9 out of my 10 games the other day, didn't I? Poor old Kev is definitely going to have to sit there for at least 2 or 3 games where he's not going to play because he's not in any competitions. So there's 6 games left in the season. I think, Rich, you're still in the FA Cup?
I am still in the FA Cup, yep. So I've got the FA Cup could come home with me. I don't think I'm going to win the league. League form seems to have dipped ever so slightly, and City have been annoyingly consistent. I've got to kind of keep pace with West Ham at the moment. That's the weirdest thing. West Ham are having the best season they've ever had, which is ever so strange.
And then, so I'm sat in 10th, but I've already got a Conference League place. And I'm now 6 games left in the season. I'm only 7 points behind Kev and 10 points behind you, which is a lot better than it was when I came in after Klopp had left them in 16th or wherever they were. So we seem to have picked up some form. But yeah, the Champions League is, I think it's what I'm trying to aim for. But obviously having you in the way, and then we probably have Real Madrid in the semi-final. So whoever gets through gets the honour of playing Real Madrid, who obviously have a really rubbish team anyway. So
Terrible.
Yeah,
woeful.
Well, they're currently second in the Liga, so it's not actually that bad.
That is true, actually. Yeah, that's the one good thing is that Barcelona are having an absolutely fantastic season in Spain. That's the only thing I'm interested in this year, in the context of this season of the save. I've loaned Barcelona one of my defensive midfielders, and if they win the league, they have to give me £76 million for him. Real Madrid have won the league the last 3 years in a row, I think. So I wasn't overly optimistic, but they're storming La Liga at the moment. So if that stays the same, I become a very, very wealthy man at the end of the season. So it gives me added incentive to get excited for Real Madrid's, so for Barcelona's results. So fingers crossed.
This is the Real Madrid squad that has Tariq Lamptey at right back, who is somehow a phenomenon. But and then they also have the obviously Spanish name Stephen Jones in centre back. This is a new gen.
Yeah,
I think he was the Barcelona.
He was the your name. Was he the your name in the game this year?
Was he? Okay.
I think he was the one in FM23. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Got you. There you go. That makes a little bit more sense. But yeah, we'll see how that one goes. I mean, Kev had a mixed fortune last time with. I think he finally found a system that he's happy with. But yeah, he's dropped off, so he's aiming for Champions League or any type of Europe, so he doesn't have to sit around again next season. I think he's not enjoyed this season because he's just sat around waiting for Europe. But I've had to do that before, so
yeah, exactly. This is it. He's just reliving. All he's doing at the moment is he's reliving the glory days of Brighton, and then subsequently not Brighton.
Also, shout out to Middlesbrough in our network save. They have 7 points and already been relegated. So. I didn't actually realise that, but yes, I knew they were bad, but they are quite bad.
Yeah, they're not having the best season in the network save. Poor old Middlesbrough, but you know, it was they've not had necessarily the best time.
Yeah, but Wednesday night, I think the first game we'll build it up a little bit more, but it is myself against Rich in the Champions League quarter-final, as we both bid for European glory, because I think that's all we can hope for the rest of the season. I don't think any leagues are going to be won, but we shall see.
Absolutely, we will. So come and spend some time with us on Wednesday night as we play that out. The inevitable 0-0 draw at Old Trafford, and then penalties, and my computer shuts down halfway through, and then my system manager has to come in and take charge of the penalty shootout, and
really unfortunate.
Boot my stream back up and I win. It's just what happens. It's just what happens. So come and hang out with us on Wednesday for that.
Is there anywhere else that they could come hang out with us?
There might be, actually. There might be. In the description of this week's episode, I'm posting Jeb's full address, so feel free to come around Jeb's anytime you fancy.
Yep.
Failing that, if you don't fancy travelling to name redacted, if you want to actually come and see us somewhere else, why not come and see us in Slough on the 27th of July? Why not do that? Why not come hang out with us for the day in Slough?
What an offer. What an offer.
What an offer. What an offer. You'd be silly not to. No, genuinely, we're going back to Slough. We did it last summer with Callum. Callum has arranged the whole thing again because he's just ever so nice like that. We're going back to Slough to watch a pre-season game of football. We're going to be there. Callum will be there. I will be there. Jeb will be there. And Kev will be there. The whole podcast crew, the whole FM team in one place together again. Imagine that.
With lots and lots of other people, which by the sounds of things. There is a
Loads
Discord channel set up in our Discord if you want to let people know of your plans. If you're looking for rooms, or you maybe share a hotel room with somebody you've never met before in your entire life. Obviously, get twin beds. Yeah, it'd be a bit weird if you're just sharing one bed. That'll be
or
strange.
You're going to make a friend for life.
Do. Whatever you
want to do. Live your life. Just live your lives the way you want to live your lives.
Exactly.
You know, it's fine.
Yeah, consent important. Right, cool.
Yeah. Fly to a new country. Share a bed with a stranger. Just live.
The English way.
The English way. It's what we do. It's what we do.
Exactly. That's it. Yes. Maybe use some of that Cipation to figure out what you
Cipation is the key one, I think. Yeah, come and hang out with us. It's going to be brilliant fun. I really cannot emphasize enough how much fun it's going to be. We're all going to be down there. Come and spend the day. Last time we watched the football. We went out. A big group of us went out for some dinner. We may do that again this time. Last time we did it, it was like a 25-minute, taxi ride away from Slough. My understanding is there are restaurants in Slough, so I'm just going to put that out.
No.
Yeah, I know. Weird. Weird, isn't it? Very, very weird.
It's almost like we could plan ahead.
Almost like we could plan ahead. Hey, maybe that's what the Discord's there for. So come and hang out. We're gonna have a great time. Come and see us. Come chat to us. We would love to see you. It would be an absolute pleasure. As Kev said the other week, whether you are a content creator, whether you are somebody who listens to the podcast on a regular basis, just come and say hello. We are excited to meet you and see you and have a lovely time with you watching the mighty Slough tearing up pre-season. It's going to be great fun. So please come and do that. Please. You don't have to, but it'd be nice if you did. I think that's fair enough. Jeb, I don't know about you, mate, but that very much feels like a podcast to me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Using my concentration, I can. Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Yeah. It's good, isn't it? It's good. I've realised that as the podcast has been recording, my chair's been rolling ever so slightly further backwards. So I've been getting smaller and smaller, showing that I need to work on my positioning.
Ah, I see.
So
I use my acceleration to come back towards the mic then. So there we are.
Stamina. That's also something, isn't it? That's good. Now we're just saying words. Fantastic.
I could do some dribbling, but I'm not going to.
Oh, go on, have a dribble. Jeb, if people would like to watch you streaming with Sheffield United, where could the people find you doing it?
If I will be, I might be. I don't know
if
this
you will
week.
Be.
I guess. Yes, I'm away a bit this week, so I'm probably not going to be on too much. Twitch.tv/Jebaroo. I might be doing some GTA RP. Another one that I do want to shout out is I'm wearing a Scroobius Pip hat today, but there is a Kickstarter that he started. He's making a short film that had some backing and stuff. It's had quite a lot of backing, making a short film of a lot of Scottish creators and things like that. It's kickstarter.com//projects/area-of-natural-beauty-a-long-short-film. We'll put it in the description. If not, just search Scroobius Pip. Kickstarter it's gone really, really well for them. I've donated a bit there. They have some interesting goals. So if you donate so much, one of them is if you donate £40, a random Scottish person will ring you up and give you a prank call from a phone box. They won't say when he'll do it. Another one is you can have Scroobius Pip will put your birthday in his personal calendar. You won't do anything about it. He'll just be aware of it. And then you can spend £750 and have Scroobius Pip on your podcast. If somebody wants to do that, and we'll get Scroobius Pip back on FMT, because he is in one of the Patreon episodes. If you do scroll down, he did an episode with Matt a few years ago.
He did.
And there's a few other ones that they're looking to put out there. as well. But like I said, it's a really good concept that he's coming up with. If you're unaware with Scroobius Pip, he has a stammer, and he is raising money for Stammer, which is the charity for that. I don't know, that ailment. I don't know, not an ailment. It's one of those things. Disability. There you go. That's what. Yeah. Yes. So yes.
Yeah.
So he's raising awareness, I think, more than anything else, because I think a lot of people, when they think Stammer, they think of Rain Man or something like that. It's just completely the wrong actual disability you're thinking of. So yeah, I think it's getting the awareness out there, and then also Scroobius Pip has been in Star Wars and is going to be in House of the Dragon as well. So there we are.
Exactly. All of those things. Good human being, lovely streamer, lovely man. So if you want to do a little donation to that, if you have the capacity, please feel free to. Give him £750, get him back on FMT. I think that'd be lovely.
Yeah,
have
that's
a great time.
And also his content actually on stream, Scroobius Pip, his song battles that he's been doing recently has just been phenomenal. He did a Scottish song battle the other day, and I did not know that Average White Band, and just like, what's Average White Band? That's them. They're Scottish. They're from Dundee.
Wow, there you go.
Exactly. That jazz funk ensemble, they're from Dundee. There you go.
Of course they are.
It wasn't
Why
just
wouldn't-
back-to-back Proclaimers, even though I submitted Proclaimers song and it nearly got to the end.
It wasn't. It could have been. Oh, what could have been? What
Yeah.
could have been? Who? Oh. Oh well. Maybe one day we'll live the dream. Yes. So if you're interested in exploring that, please feel free to. I'm also going to shout out just the lads, twitch.tv/the United City FM and twitch.tv/Y Callum, our FM teammates who are not here today. But if you want to watch what they are doing, please feel free to. And also twitch.tv/Rich Owens FM, because that's where you'll find me. I think Wolfsburg might be back this week. I think What's the Story Former Glory may return. I've got a feeling because we're not network saving on Monday night and I'm going to stream. So probably just can I still do it on my own? Have I still got the streaming on your own chops? We'll find out this week. We will absolutely find out.
If you're struggling, just drop me a message and I'll just jump in a voice chat with you. And just,
could you?
that
Would be really helpful.
We'll
actually,
talk about all the various attributes and different ways to say them.
Yes, that'd be cracking. There you go. There's your Patreon content. Let's make that happen. Finishing. There you go. There's a little preview for you.
Yeah.
Got all these. Oh, it just goes on like that. For
Positarian.
ing. Yeah.
Gotta
Don't
be
forget the ing.
positive
Otherwise,
about it,
if you forget the ing,
Yeah,
you sound really silly. So
Yeah.
don't do that. Terrible idea.
What's your favourite Positarian? Let us know in the comments.
Let us know in the comments. Please do. Please do. Jeb, it's been an absolute pleasure. Weirdly enough, it always is. Thank you very much, mate.
Who'd have thought we go on tangents? Who knew that?
I know.
I'm
Nobody.
going to wave now.
You start waving. I'll start saying goodbye. How does that sound? He's off. He's waving. For the audio listeners, Jeb is waving. Thank you very much for joining us. You, the audience, we appreciate you enormously because without you, there is no podcast. Thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. And we will catch you on the next episode of Football Manager Therapy. See you on the next one. Take care. Love you lots.
Ecuador!
Bye.